Okay, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. This is the first of a year-long series where we will be featuring Busby Group's broker friends and other large cities across America. I'm super excited because we are starting with Kristen Abell in Denver. She has become a dear friend. We've been on a small group of top brokers across the nation for about a year and a half now. And it's been really great to share information about our marketplaces. And I thought it would be really neat to start featuring my friends in these other cities, as I know I keep calling this the great reshuffle, where people are moving from city to city. And I have a lot of clients asking about Denver. So I thought Denver would be the perfect city to highlight. So Kristen, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And
thanks for having me. Yes.
Of course. We're excited to have you. I wanted to start off and just ask, how did you even start your real estate career?
Well, I actually, believe it or not, started in 2009 during the Great Recession. And everyone told me I was like a total ding dong. Have you read the news? And I was like, absolutely have. I want to do it. And so I just went all in 2009 and started as, a solo agent, and then have slowly been, building the team to where it is today, starting in like 2015. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So remind me, just so everyone knows, what is the name of your team?
We're the Able to Sell team. It's my last name. So it's, a little cheesy, but everyone remembers it. So that's us. We're a small group located in the heart of Denver, but we do work, the whole Denver metro area. Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about, if I have clients who are wanting to come to Denver, what sets your team apart, or you apart from other brokers in your region?
Well, like I said, we are a team and we're a small team. And I think what sets us apart is that we're really like a true team model. So what I love to do is we have our initial consultation with either the buyer or the seller. And then at that point, we find out what their needs are. And then we match that person with the client, with the best agent on the team. So it's not by like, oh, well, who needs a client now, who's not busy. It's truly like who can support them the best, who's the most knowledgeable in their price point or area, which works really well. And then of course, personality plays into that as well. If we think that someone would be a great fit personality wise, then that goes into it as well. And so, that's what I think sets us apart, because we do have coverage for almost the whole metro, because we, during the Great Reshuffling, even here within Denver, like a lot of our team has left the city. So we are now have expertise in like most of the suburbs as well.
That's awesome. We're similar too. I think it's the new trend. It's smart to diversify, and it's great to have team members in different parts of the city. So how big is your team now?
So we have 4 agents, and we have a lot of support now, actually, which is new in 2022. So 4 agents, including myself, and then a full-time operations manager, a full-time transaction coordinator. And then we have a couple gals in the background that are able to support the support. So we have a lot of people that can back up our clients and of course our agents, so that they can give everyone Nordstrom level service. Yes.
I was about to say that. So we've been fortunate enough to send some clients Kristen's way. And what's so great is the service level. And that's only possible with a synergy like your team and having the support that you do. So it's so great that you have excellent customer service. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we've worked hard for it. So thank you.
Of course. I get it. It takes time.
I know.
So tell me, so you said you're the whole metro area. Any highlights? Like I know a lot of Chicagoans have moved to Denver. What would you say is one of the favorite things that Chicagoans love when they move to the city, or anything you want to highlight of like what the lifestyle is in Denver and why people love living there?
Well, I think, most people know skiing and the mountains are a big part of the Colorado lifestyle. So I think what is so great about Denver is the access to everything your heart desires. So like if you're a city person by nature, oh my gosh, Denver has it all. But then
Good.
anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours away, you can be to some of the best skiing in the world. Well, 30 minutes wouldn't get you to the best, but like within 2 hours, you can truly be to like the heart of the Rockies where, some of the best skiing is. So that's why I think people move to Denver for the mountain lifestyle. And then most of our clients really end up falling in love with Denver itself. So then you kind of have the best of both worlds because you have access with our, DIA International Airport. So you can kind of get everywhere pretty
Awesome.
easily. But then also like we have a lifestyle for everyone. Like if you're a city person and, hiking and biking and skiing isn't your thing, there's still so much to do here aside from like the hippie, mountain vibe that we're kind of known for. So
Yeah. No, it's great. I know a lot of Chicagoans who have moved there love that there is still an urban aspect. That is something people look for, and to still have some walkability. And I know the city is able to provide that, which is cool. And then, like you said, the skiing. It's awesome to have the mountains right there.
yeah, it's awesome. That's what we do every weekend in the winter. Yeah,
I
it's
love
pretty
that.
cool.
I love
Yeah.
that. I know. In fact, that was something I was going to ask you about, like what trends you're seeing in your part of the woods. But one thing you and I have touched on is like there's also a lot of people are doing Airbnbs out there. Is that right?
Well, so yes and no. I'm glad you brought that up. So it depends on which county you're in and
Okay.
what the rules are with Airbnb. So our
Okay.
team is very knowledgeable on that. I personally had an Airbnb. I have an Airbnb as well in Vail. I had one here in Denver, but in Denver proper, it has to be your primary residence. So
Oh,
there's a lot of misunderstanding about what's allowed and what's not allowed with the Airbnb market here, because you cannot do like nightly rentals in the city of Denver, but every county has their own rules. So some are more lenient, some you truly will get like a big fine. And, people have even like honestly been to jail over it in Denver.
holy cow.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's very serious. But then in the mountain towns, it's a big hot topic right now. Like Breckenridge has just put a moratorium on Airbnbs, which is, TBD how that's going to play out. And we do
Right.
have great referral partners in all of the mountain towns.
Good.
But it's mountain town to mountain town of how they approach Airbnb and short-term rentals, and that's changing. So, something that we would need to have a chat about and like put them in touch with an expert in each mountain town because they're not all created equally. Yeah.
That's good to know. I feel like that's a trend everywhere. For us in Chicago, people were doing Airbnbs in Michigan, and Michigan is they're putting a hold on Airbnb too. So it's important to have an expert who can help you navigate that for sure.
Yeah. And it's always changing. And that's the other thing people need to know is like, if you buy one and it's allowed now, it's not a guarantee that it will be
Forever.
allowed forever. So, we just like to make everyone aware that these are always changing and can be voted on one way or the other annually. Yeah.
Wow. So what trends are you seeing? If I've got a client moving from Chicago to Denver, what can we expect if they're looking to buy, or if even someone's selling and moving to Chicago? What's going on with the buyer pool? What's going on with the seller pool in Denver?
Great question. So if your clients are moving here from Chicago, we're going to have to be very strategic. It's still extremely competitive because of all of the people coming from California, Illinois, Texas, Florida, moving to Colorado. Those are our top 4 markets.
Wow.
Last year, honestly, the majority of I shouldn't say majority, more than 50% of our buyers were coming from a bigger city than Denver. So we're having a huge migration from the bigger cities now that people, of course, have more flexibility with work. So it's very competitive, and we know how to win. We have partners in town, that do cash offers for our clients, or we strategize, of how to be successful. Because most of the time we're up between 5 to 20 offers, honestly, in our spring market. And that's almost on every single listing.
So when is your spring market? Because ours
It's
is
now.
a little different. Okay, so ours is the same. People expect it to be, and some people may be watching this later. So some people expect spring market to be May and June. So why don't you share when your spring market really is?
Yes. So it keeps actually like getting closer and closer to the new year as this like, hot pandemic trend continues. So we used to kind of be more of a March, April, May was like our hot season, but now it's truly like after New Year's, it like usually just takes off. Like our first weekend and we already were losing bidding wars the second week of January. And right now, of course, in 2022 to like 200,000 over list price, but that's at like a $2 million price point. So of course it's dependent on the price point.
Right.
But we know how to be successful, and we do need to be strategic with our lending partners or our clients' lending partner and be sure that we're taking like a team approach to get offers accepted, because it's not easy out there on the buy side. Now, if you have sellers that want to move from Denver to Chicago, they're in the driver's seat, and like it's a pretty great place to be.
Yeah. But it's good that, that you have strategies to get the offers accepted for the buyers. It's key these days, and it's important to have good relationships with brokers in your region.
Oh, yeah.
I know you do. So that's
Yeah.
huge.
I mean, that's honestly how we've probably won, I would say more than 50% is not always, not always on price. It's on relationship, building rapport with the other agent, and then putting in those terms that are really beneficial to that seller, because not every seller wants the same thing.
So true.
Yeah.
Now, would you say some things are selling before they even go on the market?
Yes, but I don't think, from what I've heard nationally, I don't think we're as big of an off-market town as some of the others. But yes, absolutely, things are selling off market, and we have successfully closed quite a few in 2021 off market. But I will tell you, most sellers and brokers want to take it to market because they want to see truly what the buyers are willing to pay. So we're kind of in this like catch 22 from a seller's perspective of like, do they want to take it off market? Because what if they left 100,000 on the table? So yeah. So yes and no.
Do you see it as a seller's market, or at least a popular, maybe I should word this a little better. Do you see Denver as a popular market for the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? I'm curious what you're hearing about demand in Denver.
Yes. So I think as long as more than 50% of our buyer pool, like within our little team, continues to be out-of-state buyers, which on trend already in 2022, the majority of our buyers are from out of state. And so until that subsides or even like starts to dwindle, I think it's just going to continue to be a hot market for years to come until buyers either decide Denver has gotten too crowded or they feel like the value isn't there. Because if they're coming from San Francisco, like there's still value in Denver. But if they're coming from Texas or Illinois, it's really not, they're not getting any value. They're thinking, they're having sticker shock and being like, do I really want to make this move for the lifestyle? So I think we're kind of at that breaking point that we'll have to see if people are still willing to pay the prices, because we're anticipating in 2022 another double-digit appreciation year here in Denver.
Another double-digit appreciation. Wow. And what did you see? About 10% for 2021?
No, it was closer. I had it pulled up right here because I forgot offhand, but it was double digits, closer to 20% in most areas than 10. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So any other tips or advice that you want to share, or anything else that you just want to share about your marketplace?
Well, I think a lot of times people want to know like best areas, best neighborhoods. So, where I've always lived and is like dear to my heart is Washington Park. And most people that are coming from out of state have heard of it. It's kind of like the melting pot neighborhood of like everybody kind of sets up shop somewhere around Washington Park, unless of course they have kids, and a lot of them move for the good schools out to the suburbs. But if you're coming from another big city, a lot of people feel really comfortable in the northwest side of town, which is like the Highlands, Sloan's Lake, Berkeley, Sunnyside. And that's a very hot, extremely walkable, a lot of new development happening in that neighborhood, as well as everything kind of surrounding Washington Park and Cherry Creek, because they're central. They're all close to downtown. everything's walkable. A ton of amazing restaurants are in all of these neighborhoods. So those are kind of the hot areas that we cover and have always covered. So, I started in 2009. I've always lived in Wash Park within about, I don't know, 5 to 10 blocks of the actual park. So that's like my niche. And then my team actually, 2 of them have moved to Golden. So now we are doing a lot of business, which is the west side of Denver, closer to the mountains, closer to the foothills. So we do a lot of business in the western suburbs, if you will. So Coors is in Golden.
Yes.
So
okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good.
Most people know that. They've been on the Coors brewery tour, or they're planning to. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. So one thing you and I have chatted about, and I think it's important to share here, is I know some of my clients might want to sell in Chicago, move to Denver and rent so they can learn those neighborhoods that you were just chatting about. Can you just share a little bit about how the rental market is there and how brokers are not involved, just so clients know?
Absolutely. So it is a little bit like the Wild West still out in Denver in the rental side of things. So much different than the other big cities. Like, we don't really get paid to help with rentals. So we love to be a resource and meet clients and see like if we can help them kind of navigate what neighborhoods, or just have a quick phone call. But honestly, unless things change in the future, we don't have a great rental resource. Like, we don't have an MLS for rentals. So everything goes on Zillow, and everybody just kind of fends for themselves. So the landlords or the property managers will put them on Zillow, and then everything's usually done through there. Unless someone wants an apartment, that's different than, usually there's a leasing office and they can kind of narrow it down. But still, they usually just negotiate directly with the leasing office rather than having the broker represent them. So it's much different here. But we do love to stay in touch because, of course, when they are ready to buy, we can know what they love about the neighborhood, what they didn't love about the neighborhood, and guide them on schools and price point and, access to downtown and all of those things. So
that's awesome. It's good to know, because I know we've had a few clients go your way, and they, it's very different. In Chicago, brokers are involved with rentals. So it's good to know. It's smart to have a conversation with you and your team first, so they can have direction of, possibly some neighborhoods that are a good fit, and then they can navigate from there and stay in touch.
Yeah. And the other thing I would note is, if people, are listening to this call in 2022, is it's really smart to try to negotiate flexible terms, because we are still in an extremely competitive market. So if they might want to buy in the next 6 to 18 months, to be sure that they have something in there that allows the tenant to stay month to month, because oftentimes we do need to give a free rent back for anywhere from 30 to 60 days. And a rent back here is basically letting the seller rent, but they don't pay any rent.
Right.
So like a post occupancy agreement is very common for anywhere from 30 to 60 days. Yeah.
So the seller could find their replacement.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Now, I know we follow you on Insta, and so I need to make sure we're going to share Kristen and her team's Insta and Facebook and all of their accounts. But I wanted to share before we close is that they're really into design. So I strongly encourage you all to reach out, because they are known to have a really great eye for design. So if you're also thinking about buying and maybe remodeling, they're definitely your team to talk to. I don't know if you wanted to touch on some of what you've been up to as well with the design world.
Sure. Yeah. So I personally started down that path as early as actually 2008. And I just slowly gradually, like, I'm kind of hooked. So my team, though, everyone has done a full renovation of their own home, or they've even done as much as like not a scrape, but nearly a scrape. So everybody is very well versed in the new construction process, the renovation process, and or just like a small bathroom renovation. But everybody has an eye for design on the team. So we absolutely love helping clients, make decisions on best ways to spend money. If you are deciding and you have, X number of dollars to spend, like, we would tell you, here, please use it this way, of course, people still decide what they want to do, but we'll always give our opinion for resale wise, like what we would recommend, what trends we're seeing in our marketplace. So
Love
yeah.
it. And then that
Yeah.
means you have great connections with vendors too. And vendors are so hard to find right now.
So hard. Oh my gosh. That's the biggest struggle, honestly, is
Yeah.
we do have the relationships. So that's wonderful. And we try to, of course, nurture those and keep things, but getting people to just show up to do the job is the hardest part right now. So
It is. It
yeah.
is. Well, it's good you have relationships and you guys have experience. I mean, goodness, 12 years doing that. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I started, my first little renovation was in '08, and then I've been totally hooked ever since. And we move like every 2 years. So I can do a new project, and my kids might
Have
they
therapy.
might,
Yeah.
well, they're gonna need therapy, but they're also might just tell me this is it, like we're not doing it again. So
I love it.
I don't know.
Hey,
We'll see.
you and I are the same. We
Yeah.
have poured our heart into remodels and then we sell them and people think we're crazy. We're addicted as well. So
I know.
I think that's why
Well,
we.
there are worse things to be addicted to. So
Yes, true.
yeah.
Well, this has been fun.
I know.
I'm so happy that you were able to join me in this conversation. I'm excited to introduce you to my clients who haven't met you yet, and everyone who's tuning in. Please stay in touch with Kristen and her team. Follow her on Insta and social. We'll make sure we tag that. They have great design tips. Even if you don't leave Chicago, follow them for some great design tips. But definitely, if you're considering a move to Denver, give them a call. They're amazing. So, Kristen, thank you.
Oh,
It's good to
thank
see
you. So
Yes.
fun to get to know you through the pandemic.
I know.
It's been wonderful. Yeah.
It's very
Cool.
cool. Well, good
Well,
chatting, and we will talk
yeah.
soon.